Welcome to Funny Old Game, the podcast. That's what it is. Yes, you remember Race for the Prize? Well, that kind of died. And Funny Old Game, for you people who don't remember, was a column way back. Way back. I think that Warren Moon might have been at East when we started that, or he might have even been at Queen of the South. Who knows? I'm Phil Davis from the Washing Line. Apparently that's my moniker these days. That's what people call me. I am here in the sumptuous surrounds of the referee's room at Lions Stadium. It's a bit echoey here. I am with Warren Moon, who is the current injured coach, former captain coach of Lions FC, and it's good to have you back on the podcast, Warren.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Did anyone call you Warren?
Some people, yeah.
Just your family?
Yeah, pretty much the family. Everyone else is Mooney or Moondog or Coach, Gaffer.
Yeah.
Well, other names as well, yeah.
I've never come across anyone in the whole football community call you Warren, ever.
No. Don't like it, to be fair.
Really? Oh, there you go.
Quite comfortable with Mooney.
Of course, there's lots of talk about what's been happening. It's been the biggest... Is this the biggest season you've had in your career?
Oh, it's certainly, in terms of exposure for the team that I coached, with the FFA Cup and obviously the side itself. When we put the side together at the start of the year, there was a lot of talk about it, and it's I suppose so. It's been good. You know, the FFA Cup has been obviously dominating the headlines about us lately, and but there's other stuff that obviously is going on at the moment as well. So it's been good. Yeah,
it's been an absolute cracker from our point of view, from behind the other side of the fence. It's just been. I mean, obviously, Warren, a Brisbane Premier League team. You know, last year. You know, as much as we support Olympic and the Strikers last year as best as we could, it was heartbreaking not to get someone through to there. But look, we'll just kick it off. We'll just briefly... We've talked to Lions how many times over the last fortnight? It's overkill. But the game in Adelaide, I personally thought that was the best performance I've ever seen by a Brisbane Premier League side. What did you think?
Yeah, well, look, I don't know about that, but from my perspective, it was our best performance of the season by a long way. And like I said to the boys, I guess we were waiting for a game like this where someone was going to really test us and have a go at us. Not saying that we don't get tested in the BPL, but a lot of sides do have different game plans. They sit back and try and make it hard for us, and we have to be good enough to try and break them down. Whereas Croydon, with a side with quality all over the park, they were never going to do that against us. And so not only do we have to match them for their ability, but we also had to then go and beat them, and I certainly think we did very well to obviously do that, and our game plan worked well, and on the night boys played really well, so I was really happy with what they did. Yeah,
look, I saw the game, kind of, and I watched the game again later through, and there was a pass, I can't remember who passed the ball, but it went astray. And it stuck out like a sore thumb because your passing game was just on. It was as good as, I honestly think it was pretty good, pretty close to A-League standard, that passing game.
Well, it was a high-quality game, and the pitch helped as well, obviously being a 4G. So the boys were able to pass it around and do really well. So whether it was up to that standard, I don't know, but I know we played well that night. And like I said, we were looking for a performance like that all year, and the boys certainly put their best performance of the season on against Croydon, and it was good to see. It's also set the standard for the boys. We know they can play at that level now. And it's going to be a real challenge to see how we go into the next game in the finals as well. Hopefully we can sort of meet those standards again.
Well, look, it set the football scene, the football community alight. I think people believed after that, and so many, it just meant, well, obviously from the football community, but so many people watched it. It just made a particular effort to watch that game, and I think everybody's proud of that performance from Brisbane. But you're off. You're not going to be around for the next one, are you?
No, unfortunately, a pre-arranged trip to Europe that was even before I took the job here, unfortunately. So, which the club knew about before I took the job. So, it's just one of those things. You can't predict the future, and we can't predict that we were going to make the last 16 of the FFA Cup. So, whilst it's disappointing that I'm not here, I sort of leave them in good hands. Darren will take over, and Rossi will come in and help, and they're both certainly not going to change too much to what we've done all year. So they're going to be fine, well prepared, ready to go. And if there's an upset on the cards, it could be us. You never know. The boys certainly got it in them. So.
Palm Beach did the same last year. They played well and they got the momentum. But you know where you're going to be next Wednesday at 7:30?
I'll be somewhere on the Croatian coastline, I would imagine, trying to get reception to
trying to get
either stream it or even just get updates on the app. I don't know, but but I'll certainly be trying to find a vantage point to follow the game, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think you'll be getting a million chats coming through. That's the FFA Cup, and of course you set out to win the league. That's kind of... Well, let me try that again. I think you were on hiding to nothing. People thought that you would qualify for the FFA Cup, and you would win the league. All right? You've done that. Is that what your two real achievements of the season were? Your real goals? I think
the real goal was the league. The league was the priority. You know, it was... we were on the hiding to nothing, you know... You got a lot of comments in pre-season from opposition coaches and people around saying that, you know, if we don't win the league, it's a failure. We've got the biggest budget, the best team, we should win the league and all that kind of crap, you know, it was hard for me coming in because, you know, like a lot of that was actually false, you know, it's listening to saying we've got the biggest budget, which just isn't true. You know, it's for me, it's more gamesmanship, coaches hiding behind their own failures, I guess, about what they're going to do in the season. You know, we of course we have money and we spend it, but we spend it wisely and we don't spend anything out of our means. And I know for a fact there are other clubs, even around in the top four, that spend probably just as much as us. So, but it is what it is, and we had to deal with that, live with that, and it's irrelevant, I guess. At the end of the day, we do what we do and we get on with our business, and we certainly did our job this year, and our goal was to win the league, and we won it. So. You
hear the naysayers, or I do, you know, there's always these negative people that generally on the forum because they just hide behind it. But, you know, they're the kind of people saying that. Now, from my point of view, what I saw is what you did was that you attracted the best players and crafted the best team. That's my opinion of what you did. And that looked to the outside world that you were just buying the best. But you as a coach, it must be part of your personality to be able to attract that kind of squad. Do you think that's a fair comment?
Well, maybe. I think that... Well, I don't know. I mean, coming here is a big attraction, you know. We talk about, again, people wanted to just solely focus on money. Coming here wasn't an attraction just about money. There was the facilities and the setup here is first class. You know, people didn't come here for money. They came here for that, wanting to be a part of something. And, you know, that was what I sort of sold to them, what's going to happen, the side we're going to put together, what we might be able to achieve if it all comes together, which it did now. But, you know, when you look around here and they'll set up our training facilities, the gym, you know, we've got Musashi sponsorship, which, you know, helps with player recovery, the ice baths. It's, you know, it's pretty good setup, and people want to be a part of that. You know, that's you don't get that at every other club in Brisbane. So it's not just about, I suppose, what a lot of people would speculate in people coming here and what reasons they came here for. So, you know, it probably doesn't give credit to the boys that did come here and wanting to be a part of something and try and be successful. And we will try to be successful. So,
when you're crafting the team, this is my own personal, I love getting the insights, you know what I mean? How do you go about it? You just start ringing players? You make a list?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Do you draw your ideal team out and then try and fill in the gaps?
In a way, it's you sort of, I mean, you start with what's here, firstly.
Yeah.
You know, when I took over, you start with what's here, and then you look to where you feel you need to strengthen, and you don't just ring any old player. No, you've obviously looked to what would work, what looks good with the balance of the squad or the side, and where you think you can sort of shape and mould a side. So, yeah, I guess the hardest work for me is done in pre-season. You know, I think a lot of coaches would probably agree that once you get that squad together, as long as you're consistent in what you're doing and how you approach it with your game plan and, you know, your style of play or philosophy, as I guess a lot of people use that word, but however you like to try and play, if you've got the players there, it becomes a lot easier. So, yeah, for me, definitely that the off-season, trying to get the players there is definitely tough. It's the hardest part of trying to be successful.
Yeah. So I asked the hard-hitting questions. Yourself as a coach, how old are you? 32?
Yeah.
32?
Yeah.
That's pretty young for a coach, right? Do you feel like you've already achieved certain things you want as a coach, or you're happy with where you are as a coach?
I'm probably happy where I am. certainly don't think I'm finished. I got a lot of learning to do. You know, I haven't completed all my badges, which I really want to do, and I'm doing that this year. I definitely want to learn more and understand more about the game, and I'm certainly not finished. I love coaching. It's been great so far. I had the opportunity early. I was 25 when I came back from Scotland with an injury, and I was lucky enough, or I don't know if it was luck or the East Board were crazy, but they made me player coach along with Scott Higgins, and at 25 I'm a player coach, coaching, you know, some seasoned professionals like Damien Harris at 33, 34, and, you know, trying to give him information about how to play, and, you know, we were lucky there, or not lucky, but we put a side there together and we were successful there, and it's all seemed to fall into place from there, really. It's gone okay, so... I enjoy it as well. I don't feel the pressure to do this. I do it because I enjoy it first and foremost. So
I'm sure you do. I'd swap with you in a minute. Last week I was here for the Taringa game, and you dominated the game. You know, there's no question about that. But you didn't have the spark. You know, that you could see that the spark wasn't there. With such massive games, is that because it's difficult to keep motivated for the games that aren't as big?
Possibly. You know, it wasn't our intention to go out there and take our foot off the pedal, but I suppose it's natural and somewhat probably impossible to ask the boys to replicate what we had done over the last month. And there were changes in that team as well, with one eye on the FFA Cup. So, and there will be this weekend as well. So when you make those kind of changes and then chop and change, and we tried a few things positionally as well, looking forward to the future, it doesn't always mean you're going to play or put on the same level of performance that we did, I guess, in the bigger games previously.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter though, does it? You've already won the league.
Well, I guess so, yeah. I mean, but we have standards, and we didn't want to go out there and get beat. We certainly wanted to make sure we won the game, and whilst it was closer than we would have liked, at least we won the game and we move on. So,
looking back early in the season, there was a brief period in the beginning where people thought you were a bit shaky. First couple of games, you know, a couple of draws, and you weren't really... When did you think that you'd actually found your real momentum and you were going to be the title winners?
Well, I thought I had the side at the start of the season. So, I mean, when I put the side together, I believe that was the side that could win it. You need a bit of luck on the way. You need to make sure you start the season well. I've always known that from experience. I've been at clubs at Power where we've done very well finishing the season off with trophies, but we've lost the premiership in the first 5 or 6 rounds. So it was important to us that we started the season well, and we certainly did this year. We got a pretty important draw, I think, against Mistleton early on. Yep. We pulled one out of the fire late on. And that was probably a good result, because that was probably a game we needed. We needed to be tested, we needed to be pushed, and we needed to come out with some kind of result, knowing that we've had either a bit of luck or that we had to find something extra, and we did in that game, and we kind of kicked on from there, to be honest.
I think after that game, I remember you saying something along the lines of, Mitchelton will be in the grand final. Who do you think is going to be? Assume you make the grand final, who's going to be your opposition?
Well, I don't know. I'm not here, so it doesn't matter. But, they still could be. It's to be honest, and you look at the results this year. Anyone on their day could make the grand final. Still, you can't rule out Peninsula. Even I know they've lost 3 in a row, but at the end of the day, they need to win 2 games, and you're in the grand final. So we certainly wouldn't rule them out. And East are the form team at the moment, so you'd probably back them to be in the grand final, but you don't know. You know, there's no guarantee any of us will make the grand final. We could be bounced out in 2, or we could make the grand final. We don't know. So it's on the day, really.
I can't remember the last time that somebody won the treble, the league, the cup, and the grand final. During the glory years of Rochdale and Wolves, and previous to that, there were all sorts of sides. The Strikers and... well,
we've only won 1 trophy at the moment. We haven't won the cup yet, so that's Pine Rivers to play. So
I'm going to ask you one last question before we let you go to... You're off to Real Madrid and Barcelona after Croatia, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on a school tour, and it's good. Yeah, it's going to be a good experience. It's not only a tour, we get a bit of coach education in those places as well. So hope to learn a bit there and see how it's done in the academies, and off to Tottenham and Liverpool as well in the UK.
Tottenham.
Yeah.
Well, that's surprising.
It's quite surprising, given I support them. Yeah. So it's... it's going to be a good experience. And obviously, you know, I learned a bit the last time I went over there in one of those tours, and you certainly pick up more in watching the some of those academies teams training. Even when we were over there last time, we got a few first team sessions we got to watch as well, which we were quite lucky to see. So to see how it's done at the very highest level, it's I certainly picked up a few things, which was good to see.
Yeah, I'd love to go to the Dalmatian Coast. But anyway, the last question is, last season when Olympic was successful, the southern teams, the old enemy, came in and started poaching players. If you were coach of Hume City, who would you try and poach from the Lions?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
No one, because we're all third-tier community players that do it for the love of the game, so they're better off poaching from NPL.
I did notice that you're at 201 to 1 to win the cup, and the other, yeah, there's teams that I don't think are half as good that are a lot shorter. But yeah, well, that's great. It's nice talking to you again. It's been a long time.
Yeah,
that's on the radio.
It's probably this will be enough, I think, for the Lions love, and you might need to go and interview someone else now.
Let's hope that you lose a couple of games then. I'm Phil Davis. I've been with Warren Moon. It's been lovely being here in the referee's room with Ian Judd. We're going to try and continue with a few podcasts through the final series, and you must get out to the Lions versus Perth Glory game at Perry Park next Wednesday, 7:30 kickoff, $10 a ticket. Everybody I know is going, and would love to see you there. I'm predicting a crowd of between 3,000 and 4,000. Thanks for listening in. It's been really good to get back in front of a microphone again. I hate cameras. See you later.